held mic today because I'm used to walking around when I speak, but I'm gonna try to stay still today. But I'm Lois. My name is Louise, but everyone called me Lois, and I'm a social worker in school in Uppsala municipality.
And my name is Signe. I'm a coordinator at the same unit that Louis works at. So we're both social workers. I just want to start by giving you a frame of reference of who we are and what we do for work as social workers. The social services in Uppsala is separated into two different parts when it comes to working with young children and youths. There is the part that gets information and makes decisions about what type of help a family needs. That's not the part that we work with. We work with the more operational part, and we are preventive social services.
Yeah, so we have to say we got a great introduction from Norway because we are going to talk about exactly that, but we work on the floor, so.
Yeah.
Yes, so Uppsala Ungdomsjour, we aim to identify children and young at-risk people to be involved in crimes or social issues or drugs. And I work at the lower levels, so I work with children in the ages of 10 to 11, so it might be kind of hard to say criminality or social issues or drugs, but it's preventive work. So we also, in our unit, offer support and mediation to children and to parents or legal guardians. And we together in our teams, we coordinate preventative actions in association with other social actors. So Signe is going to tell you a little bit more about which social actors we work with.
Yes, so what is SSPF? It's an abbreviation for social services, schools, police, and free time activity centers or leisure time activity centers. It's a difficult word to translate, but in Swedish we call it fritidsgård. It's basically where youths hang out in between school and sports activities or such things. SSPF collaboration, it's a collaborational model that our unit coordinate within the municipality, and it's the base of our preventive social work and how we can identify these at-youth or at-risk youths and the behaviors and so on and so forth. I was going to say violence in schools is one of the at-risk behaviors. There's, of course, a lot more that we can identify and work with, but for the purpose of the theme today, that's what this presentation will be focusing on. And so the whole SSPF network, it works differently in different municipalities, but in Uppsala, we meet every 2 weeks to talk about local issues, what is going on in the municipality, questions that are relevant for youths or trends that we see amongst youths, and talk about how we can work about these trends together within the SSPF network. This type of collaborational model also gives us a common insight and a common frame of thinking or frame of mind to different risk behaviors. They're amongst school violence.
Yeah, and I can just add that we have the SSPF collaborations for the older kids, the teens, and we have specific groups for younger children.
Yeah.
As we can see different kind of trends and so on.
Different risk behaviors, different, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is mine. So we see violence as a risk factor, obviously, and that is something that can debut quite early. We see in the schools today that we have these fights for fun, that we start with arguments and then the children tend to be violent towards each other and then they escalate and can turn into crimes. And the school obviously works with this, but this is also a priority area for us, like social workers in school, to identify these children. We do see a lot of threats on social media. We have dirty posting about other children or other youths, and that can also turn into violence in the school as a reaction to this, obviously. And sadly, very common verbal violations against other youths or their parents or families that can also turn into physical violence as a way of
retaliate?
Yeah, retaliate. Thank you. And we see violence every day in schools, just in variations, and it's a part of the children's everyday school life, and that's why it's so important for us to be there early to recognize these individuals who probably doesn't want to fight, but they do this because of other reasons or because of the retaliation. So that's a huge focus for us.
So how do we work preventively? One of the things we do is class visits in schools. Thanks to our SSPF collaboration, we work very closely with all the schools in Uppsala municipality. And do you want to talk about the class visits, since you do them more than I do?
Since I'm a social worker in school, one of my duties is to hold like workshops or lessons, and that could be about values, it could be about what is above the law, and how can I control myself in these kinds of situations. We want to create positive role models, so as long as the longer time you work in like my kind of area, you can also see your positive role models grow up, and then you can use them in your work with the younger children. And we also, of course, speak to the children about the normalization of violence and what violence can lead to, and try to help the children to manage their anger or sadness or other feelings.
We also have a method called SSPF individual meetings. It's where the adults in the SSPF networks, the police, the social services, us, the adults who are around the kids at their free time, when they see risk behaviors and get worried and feel that we need to do something, we need to act on this, we can call to an SSPF individual meeting where all these adults around the child, where there is worry about, can gather at one meeting and talk about what are we worried about, what works and what can we work together with that actually is good, and what needs to happen together. So it's a really good example of how so many different parts of the society around the kid, the adults who are worried, can sit down together with the kid and with the family and discuss this openly. So that's one method. We also have a meeting form called nödstopp, which means emergency stop. It's kind of similar to SSPF individual meetings, but it's more when adults see a group of kids where there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of risk behaviors, could be violence in school, could be narcotics, could be anything really. We can gather the parents of these children and the school, the whole SSPF network, to talk about this is what we see within this group and what do we do together, and to kind of place the worry where it belongs, with the families, with the parents, so that they have all the information that everyone else has too, and so that we can connect them together and also work together as a whole. Speaking of parental contact, we work a lot with consent, where the parents of a child consent to the confidentiality being dissolved between the SSPF partners. So, for example, if we see a youth or a child out a lot and we know that we have to work with them and the parent consents to it, we can talk to the police about this child. You know, what do you see? What do we see? What do we need to do? Same with the social services that make the decisions. We can have an open conversation in regards to the issues. Like Lois mentioned, we also offer mediation and counseling at our unit. In Sweden, you are legally not obligated. Man har rätt till, vad säger man?
No, you're legally, the municipality is legally obligated.
The municipality is legally obligated to offer mediation if you have committed a crime. Mediation that we offer, it doesn't necessarily always have to be a reported crime. It could also be mediation in schools after, for example, school violence or bullying or any type of behavior like that. It usually has a very positive effect. We also offer counseling if you have committed a crime, if you've seen a crime, or if you have been a victim of a crime.
And can I just clarify that when we talk about these SSPF individual meetings, we do have established a difference between the teenagers and the children, because we have to assess the children of age that they are not being to be harmed by being a part of this kind of meeting. So in that case, I, as a social worker in school, would like to do an interview with the child, bring their voice into the meeting, and then afterwards I will speak to the child again and tell them what happened in the meeting, what did everyone say.
And I think just to clarify the different ages that we're talking about, we call it SSPF and SSPF Junior. The junior part is kids aged 10 to 12, and the older part is 13 to 18, basically. We just quickly want to touch upon one of the mediation methods that we use and are educated in at our unit. It's called DPC, Dialogue for Peaceful Change. I believe it's originally an Irish mediation method. Yes, thank you. So 16 of us at Uppsala ungdomsjour, Louise and I being two of them, have gone this course to learn how to mediate within the frame of DPC. And a colleague of ours who actually is a mediator at Uppsala ungdomsjour is working currently with one particular school. It's a pilot project that she's doing. And she's formed it through DPC. She does class visits, talks to children who are, what would they be, 14, I believe, about mediation, conflict, what happens when a conflict arises, what can I do, what are different conflict forms, and also just informing these kids about emotions and what happens to us when we have a lot of emotions or emotions that we can't control, and why does that happen. So yeah, that's basically it. We just have a slide for contact details if anyone would like to get in touch with us after today. We also just want to thank you for inviting us today, and it's been really nice to hear everyone talk about this, and we recognize different parts from many different countries, so that's very exciting to see. And if you have any questions or thoughts or just want to talk to us about SSPF, just catch us later, and we'd love to chat. Thank you.